Barack wrote a manifesto, if you will, that he posted like Martin Luther on the door of the Texas Theater. It was all written in this weird sort of cryptic code. Once we decoded it, what Barack was trying to say was that he had planned forever, exactly 1 year from the date of opening the theater, that we would create the Oak Cliff Film Festival. That's how I remember it.
We're here to talk about his film, The Ghastly...
Yeah, don't even get that right. It's called The Ghastly Love of Johnny X. X is the hardest part to remember. The rest is just all downhill. Ghastly Love of Johnny X. And it's ghastly, you know, you're going to love it. Ask me what it's about.
What is it about?
It's about 106 minutes. You're going to love this movie because it just goes and it goes and it goes. I mean, it's like a black and white movie that you don't get to see films like this anymore. But fortunately, or for some of you, unfortunately, you're going to come and see it. I highly recommend it, though. I really do, because it isn't about the movie. It's about the Oak Cliff Film Festival here in beautiful downtown Oak Cliff, Texas. I was going to say California. And what I love about this place is the history. You know, you've got Jessica here. You've got, you know, Barack here. You've got, you know, four walls and a screen. I mean, what more do you need, really? A popcorn machine. We've got one of them, right?
We do.
I'm going to love this movie, so ask me more questions.
It's funny that we're doing the screening, and this is the first screening of this film in quite a while. You know, there's been a couple of very small screens, but not many. Because I'm from Dallas, I put a lot of sort of hidden code things in the film. And funnily enough, it all comes full circle to the Texas Theater, because the JFK assassination is, of course, what Dallas is most notorious for. So I figured I would sort of deal with that. So I decided that, you know, every time we saw a calendar, you know, in the film, the date would be November 22nd, which is the day that Kennedy was shot. Okay, just as, you know, you got to see a calendar every now and then. And before every act of violence in the film, I cut to a clock, and the clock will be turning from 12:29 to 12:30, which is exactly the time that Kennedy was shot. Okay, so I think before every act of violence, I cut to a clock, and it shows the time Kennedy was shot, just for fun. It may be not every, but most of them. And then finally, of course, the car that the whole finale of the movie takes place in is the exact car that Kennedy was shot in. So I never imagined I would be showing it at the Texas Theater, but isn't it interesting?
It's meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, whatever that means. So I'm going to actually maybe announce that, or have someone announce it before the show, because I think it'll be fun to sit in the seat. I'm going to be sitting in the seat where Oswald was apprehended, by the way.
When we did the Jimmy Vaughn Oak Cliff Homecoming show here at the Texas Theater, and Jimmy came out on stage and talked about growing up in Oak Cliff and all the musical influences he had. And he was talking about just all the scene that Dallas had back in the 50s and 60s, and it was really a big music scene. And I remembered a lot of it from the 70s because I worked at a magazine called Buddy Magazine, named after Buddy Holly, and I covered a lot of it. And I'd kind of just let a lot of that go, but when he started talking about it, it reminded me of it. And I just thought it was something that most people weren't aware of, because people today think that everything started in Austin, but really before Austin, Dallas is really the music capital of Texas. And I wanted to go back and kind of chronicle that and make it available to people who weren't aware of it.
Our lead actor, Charles Baker, he lives in Fort Worth. You might recognize Charles. He plays Skinny Pete on the AMC show Breaking Bad, which is actually starting season 5. In fact, he wrapped up shooting there. And he's going to be in a movie, Terrence Malick's new film coming up, To the Wonder. And he plays alongside Javier Bardem, Rachel McAdams, Ben Affleck, Barry Pepper. So there's some, he's in good company there. He's our lead male actor. Our lead female actor is right here in Oak Cliff. She lives here. Her name is Lydia Mackey. She lives about 10 minutes from the theater. I live in North Oak Cliff. Our studio is Ludician Legion Entertainment. I always have to think twice. They used to be called Ludus, but now they're Ludician Legion Entertainment. They're based out of Dallas, so it was an entire Dallas-Fort Worth effort.
And some friends of mine had told me about a girl who had been locked up with the altercation that she had had with a school counselor, and she had been incarcerated, and she'd been in for a year, and they felt like it was time for her to get out, and they were going to go have a protest, and he asked me if I wanted to go and film it. So I did go and film it. We were going to release it as a short film, maybe not this film, but a film like this, an advocacy piece to hopefully help get her out, but she got out. So it was unnecessary. We put the film aside and we worked on the film that we were engaged in post-production on. I wanted to make a film that was I think a lot of times in documentary film, there's good storytelling, but maybe you get emotions that are sad, and they come through in documentaries. But a lot of times you don't get maybe some you don't get anger, or you don't get maybe some adrenaline or excitement. And I wanted to. We had this footage, and it's very, very powerful footage, and so. We put it together in a direct cinema style, and then we also did some other work with it because we felt like it helped put you into the event.
Originally I was pre-med actually, and I tried that for a couple of weeks and it didn't really work out. And as a kid I always watched movies, and my parents said I was glued to the TV, and they called it like TV autism because the whole house could be burning down around me and I would still just sit there and stare. But once I took one film class, I was hooked, and from then on I've just been obsessed with it. A lot of people can really put their heart and soul into their work and make it all their own, and the collaboration between the community is great. Everybody works together, everybody kind of plays off each other, especially within school. I never really imagined that Dallas would have a really huge, film movement, I guess, but as like freshman year, I wasn't that into it, wasn't that big, but as I continued on, I realized how much everybody wants to help each other out, and I think that the independent film movement is on the rise, especially here in Dallas, and it's probably going to be really great in the upcoming years.
It was definitely one of those truth is stranger than fiction kind of stories. I don't know, it's hard to really talk about it because it's just a short, I don't want to give it away.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it was a very surreal moment, and it was very much like something I would have written, but I didn't write it. It happened, and so I don't know. There's something in there that really, I don't know, just hit a nerve deep, very deep nerve, and I couldn't get it out of my mind. I couldn't forget about it, and I was like, all right, I gotta just make this short film.
It's an experimental art film that is dealing with dance, which isn't a topic that's addressed a lot. There are dance for camera films, but here in Dallas, there's not a lot of people making them, so I'm one of the few. So it's really cool to have that represented. And it's also using filtering techniques and layering techniques to multiply myself. So instead of having 3 actors doing the same amount of work, it's me multiplying myself over and over again, doing the same movement. So I think that that's what makes it experimental and new and avant-garde. And it also has original music, and it is in French.
I grew up over here, and I moved away, and I watched Oak Cliff go from being a really cool place to a really not so cool place, and it started to become a really cool place again. And I just happened to run into a guy around town named Jason Roberts. A lot of people know him, and I thought it'd be fun just to shoot him and follow his antics for a while. And I never knew or never dreamed that the work that they did would become a national project, an international project. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and I was living on the block where it happened, and it was a really awesome experience. The film is kind of, because I live in Austin now, so the film is kind of like a love letter to Oak Cliff, because I love it, I miss it, and I'd like to live here again someday.
It's pretty amazing, and how much notoriety an inaugural festival has actually gotten. I love what they've done, and they've really just taken this theater and turned it into something really special that Dallas can be proud of, as far as bringing a lot of independent films people wouldn't have normally thought about, and even some feature-run films kind of put side by side with it, and a lot of events, and it's proud to be a part of it.